I'm offering you an invitation. And this invitation isn't anything that I can give you. It has to be something you allow for yourself. So what the fuck am I talking about? People are talking about fraying at the edges in different ways. This coronavirus in England, where Boris Johnson was hospitalized, I think last night, whatever day it is of isolation and shutdown of the country. This fraying is evident in the personal texts I'm getting from my colleagues and the WhatsApping, and the people are pouring immense creativity into some really funny shit. Some of my favorites are the Chris Mann parody videos. Some of it is just biological understandable. It's not, it doesn't suit us as mammals to be cooped up inside. We're not burrow animals. And even bunnies get to hop outside in summer. And it's summer. It's gorgeous here today in England. It's gorgeous, sunny blue Mediterranean sky. The magnolia flowers are beginning to blossom in the tree outside my window. It's spring, and something in my blood is calling, go outside, be free, dance in the sunshine. But no, stay home. Don't go to the sea. Don't go out into the sun, because we have this big coronavirus pandemic crisis that's changing the world. The fraying itself, though, it's not about denying those biological needs for being outside, or even some of it, of course, but not at all due to that cutting off of physical contact and touch for those that are alone, may only have pets if they're lucky, or no one at all. It's something else. I remember a Sesame Street skit from when I was really little, of Bert and Ernie. And I forget which one is which. The taller one can't sleep. I don't know, that might be, I think that's Ernie. And Bert comes in, and Bert goes, oh, I know what you need to do. You need to turn on the tap and let it drip more so that you won't hear the sound outside that's bothering you. So it's kind of like makes the tap drip. And then that doesn't work. And Ernie's like, well, that's not working. I need something else. What do I do? What do I do? And Bert goes, I know, turn the vacuum on, because the vacuum will drown out the water that's drowning out that sound outside, and so on and so forth. And they go on and on and on and on until Ernie goes, Ma, I can't stand it. I just need to turn all this stuff off. And they're turning it off. And I go, ah. And then he hears the scraping outside again. He's like, ah. He pulls the covers over his head, and that's the end of the skit. It's a little bit like what's going on here. We have these scraping sounds inside, something that's not quite settled, an unease inside, whether that unease is pointing at small or big sorrows, small or big insecurities, small or big hatreds or fears or anger. It's daytime, though, when we're awake, right? Obviously. So here we go. Make the noise. The noise of having busy, the noise of doing this, the noise of doing the shopping, the noise of running the errands, the noise of doing the work, the noise of socializing, the noise of entertainment. And part of the gift of Corona, the invitation, is to be turning those off, one by one, till what you're left with is the quiet. That's scraping. That's not comfortable and might be quite frightening. The invitation is to allow it. You probably can't go outside much, but whatever's burrowing in the dark can. In the aloneness that you may have time for, if you haven't got 18 kids at home and multi-generational families and lots of noise in a small space at home. That which is burrowing in the dark, that's been drowned out by all that extra noise of life before Corona, can now be. It can be a terrifying prospect to let it out of the dark, to let it out of its chains, to unlock the door and invite it into the light. What is it that you're really afraid of that would happen? What are some of the worst things that would happen? The answers are usually something along the lines of destruction, running amok, not being able to control it, not being able to get it back in the box, not being able to get it behind the door again, those kinds of things. It reminds me of trying to throttle a tiger, and then the tiger swipes and say, see, the tiger needs to be controlled because it's swiping at me. It's like, well, you're kind of throttling the tiger. If you don't throttle it, in the main, tigers leave you alone. Now, of course, that is a very limited analogy because some tigers do indeed attack people, but never mind. Even when they do, this is a metaphysical conversation, and that's a physical metaphor. Those parts don't like being locked up in the dark any more than you like being cooped up at home. And when they crawl out of the dark spaces, there's bound to be some resentment and things like that, and a tense relationship at first, because frankly, you're the perpetrator in this triangle. You're the one that's kept them locked away, although of course you're viewing them as perpetrators, these parts in the dark. And no one's coming to rescue you because no rescue is needed. Because when these angry tigers are allowed out of the dark, the monsters in whatever form they are, however you see them, feel them, know them, and you really take the time to invite them out, they change. How do you do that? Sometimes it's just sitting, saying, right, bring it on, and see what comes next. Sometimes it might be sitting and doing a process like a visualization, walking yourself down a hallway and seeing a door and opening, unlocking the door and opening the door and seeing what flies out at you. Or not. You might be surprised. There might be a frightened child behind that door that just needs a hug. You never know until you get there. What I do know is that if you can find the courage to open that door and let it out, whatever it is, that courage is rewarded. And it's not just once for most. It's again and again and again. These are existential issues that show up in different ways through the ages. We have the same human problems of meaningfulness and purpose and happiness that have always been, as long as there has been human thought. And who knows what it might be in some of the animal kingdoms of language. The invitation is to allow. Part of how you do this as well is being mindful of when you're starting to stuff it down. I'm bored. What am I going to do this. I'll eat. I'll cook a meal that takes 3 hours to make, which may be extremely beneficial as well, but could also be kind of distracting from that scraping in the dark. You'll know. I'm not going to know, but you'll know. For me personally, and of course with my clients, it's about taking time to stop, making room in any way that makes sense for you. For me, it's sitting, talking with them, talking out loud. Some clients like to journal, whatever it is for you. The invitation isn't something I can give you. The invitation is only something I can make you aware of as a gift you can give to yourself, or not, as you choose, to do what feels better. Whatever feeling better really means. Because feeling better doesn't always mean feeling good. Sometimes feeling better means feeling kind of worse. Because you're allowing something out to be free that's kind of cramped and doesn't know how to stretch, and it might have claws and teeth. But it changes as you continue to allow to do what feels better which is something only you can ever know, moment to moment. There is, however, a universality to this. Doing what feels truly better. Not avoiding fear. Avoiding fear doesn't tend to actually really feel better. It only seems to. And slowing down enough to feel your way through the difference is a pretty powerful skill set. And now's the perfect time to do that, if nothing else. Even if you keep it locked in the dark behind the door, down the corridor, down the stairs in the cellar, or up in the attic, or wherever, metaphysical place, metaphor, you keep it. Learning your way through what actually feels better. Whether it be one thing that you choose to play with, to explore, to be mindful of. Does it feel better to have a shower today, to eat this or not eat it? Does it feel better to switch on the telly, or does it feel better to switch it off? And how do you know? How do you know? You'll know. But you have to ask. You have to make room for the quiet to be able to ask what feels better now, and what feels better now, and what feels better now. And right now, for me, it feels better to end this recording. The invitation is yours to do with as you wish, to grant to yourself or not as you wish, if it feels better.